podcast. Hey, Crazy J podcast. That's amazing. The Crazy J podcast.
Welcome to the Crazy J Podcast Show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your main man, aka Crazy Crockett, aka Andre's podcast. I'd like to thank everyone out there that's listening to my podcast, from Argentina, from Los Angeles to Grand Rapids to UK. Have a couple of people from Russia, some people from Singapore. Everyone out there, appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you for coming back. I know that I did not do a podcast about fantasy football this week. My buddy Griff, he's got COVID. He couldn't make it. So I aired a podcast about muscular dystrophy, and it was talking about my buddy Ron and his wife going to a conference in Pittsburgh. So if you want to listen to it, it's on anywhere that you can find your podcast show. On my podcast show, that's episode. I also have a YouTube page called the Crazy Dre Podcast. It's got a Detroit Tigers logo on it, not the Crazy Dre Podcast, the original logo that I have. Again, I have a Detroit Pistons hat on right now. It's basketball season, so when Griff's come back, he and I will talk about why he thinks Michael Jordan is not the top 10 greatest players of all time, which I'm going to have to disagree with that. And I don't know if he doesn't remember watching the Bulls, watching the series, watching how Michael Jordan just took over the games, or he just knew how to put things together, and it's just a long story. I don't want to get into it right now because Griff is not here to talk about it. But I am going to start with Lebron James and Bronny James. Now, most of you guys out there know that LeBron James is considered the greatest basketball player of all time, the most points, 20 seasons, the most missed field goals as well, next to Kobe Bryant, late Kobe Bryant. But the real focus is this, is Bronny James. Bronny James can't play basketball, not at the level of the NBA level of basketball. Most of you guys out there probably think the same way. I thought it was a little interesting to see a photograph of Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr., along with LeBron James and Bronny, and making a historical thing about having a father-son play in the NBA together. And I think it's a little different than baseball itself. Ken Griffey Jr. is probably one of the best outfitters, hitters of all time. He has a sweet left-handed swing back in the day. You can't match that. I remember a buddy of mine had a rookie card of Ken Griffey Jr. in the minor league system. And it was the same year that he was supposed to come out as a pro, in the mid-1990s, early 1990s, 92, 94. But that is so different than Bronny James. And a lot of times people, a lot of these kids today, I don't know what it is about this era, about the NBA or sports. And it's becoming more and more like an entertainment center. And it has nothing to do about the talent of the player anymore. It has to do with the publicity stunts, what kind of records they can break, what kind of media play they can create. I just think that with Bronny, it's not fair for other players out there who work their ass off just to know that they missed the last spot to the LA Lakers because of Bronny James. And I don't know if this is really a good thing for Bronny. Think about this. He knows that he's inherited this step into the NBA, and he knows that he doesn't deserve to be in the NBA. He knows that he doesn't deserve to play in the NBA. He said it himself in the conference with Riddick as the coach of the Lakers, and when they announced Bronny James in the press conference months ago. And he knows that. But what I don't think it's good for Bronny is this, is that no one's going to respect him as a human being or a man after he's done playing the NBA. Like, he'll never be able to step outside his own comfort zone or in his own box in business or entertainment or even just a small business owner if he doesn't want to be a famous celebrity person. And I think for LeBron James to do this, I think it's irresponsible for a father to let your son play at a level that he doesn't deserve. And a lot of times you can compare this to business folks who own companies and then they kind of just give it to their sons and daughters without any sense of training or knowledge of the business. And the other people who are working for that company, the guys that help the person that owns it and then they give it to their son, that's a little different because they're not family. So they're never going to be able to have that business given to them. And as soon as that original owner leaves, they have to go find a new career, or hopefully that their new employer, which is now the son or the daughter, doesn't fire that person. But for Bronny, when his father leaves the NBA, when his father decides, I'm tired of this, does that mean that Bronny still plays the NBA? Does this mean that Bronny will still participate in the franchise? I mean, I guess some people may think, well, Bronny has nothing to worry about. His dad will set him up in a career or business or a press conference or working for ESPN or work for a local business that his dad would buy someday. And he might do that, and that might be really fair. I think that if I was a father, and I'm not, but if I was a father, and I was let's say a pretty good athlete, and I knew my son was not a good athlete, I think I would set him up where I would just tell my kids, like, you're going to have to learn how to do something because I can't give you the notion to become a true financially supportive athlete when you're not able to make it to the pros or you're not able to play in the collegiate level as Bronny cannot. Bronny was there, but he never started. He was just shot bad. He's just too short, doesn't have a good shot. But that's something that, you know, as a father, you just have to kind of be honest. And I think I want to bring my old man that passed away in December of last year, and it's almost a year now that my dad died. And I remember I have to show you guys this. So this is going to be on YouTube. See my left hand? My left hand is all messed up. It's just crippled. There's no nerves or ligaments connected to my left hand that's proper. My left arm doesn't have the ligaments and nerves connected. There's no muscle mass that can develop my arms to be able to function as everyone else's arms. But my right arm works fine and works perfect. But here's the story I'm trying to tell you. So my dad knows everything about sports. Probably was a pretty good athlete, so he says. He was the 12th man on his high school basketball team. He did not play long in high school basketball because he quit. He didn't want to be the 12th man. He's like, why am I sitting on the bench? And I get that. I totally understand that. So when my parents adopted me, they basically, told me that I could become anything I wanted to. They told me that I can try. And I don't know if my parents really thought that. I think my parents kind of figured that I would develop to a certain point. I had some learning disability. I had a way of not registering new information quickly through books and that type of knowledge. My father would tell you that when I was into something, I could learn that quite easily, which I question that myself. But going back to the sports thing, I know I'm going back and forth trying to bring this into the story, but I was the kid that my dad had to sign up for Little League Baseball. He was my Little League Baseball coach. When I tried out for basketball, I didn't make it. Even middle school or junior high school level, I tried for middle school basketball team, 7th, 8th grade level. And I wanted to tell people that, at least I want to tell people this. Like, I was a kid that would practice and practice and practice. So I didn't have a lot of friends that wanted to hang out with me because I was crippled. No one wants a crippled guy hang out with him. No one wants to be around some guy that wobbles back and forth and everything else. And I stuttered. So I would be in the backyard or my neighbor's side pool where they had a basketball court, tennis court, and they let me play basketball or let me practice playing basketball by myself. I'm bonehead serious when I talk about this. I really am. I really am. I would practice from the time I got home from school, and I'll be in the backyard shooting basketball shots for like 2 or 3 hours straight, and I got pretty good at it. And then I went to middle school and tried out for the basketball team. Coming to find out, the basketball rim in the backyard, the basketball rim in the backyard was a little lopsided. It was not even, and I missed the majority of my shots in middle school. But I tell you this, I don't talk about this much. And I knew in 7th grade when I tried out that I didn't make it, and I'll be honest with you, I cried. I was so disappointed, so upset. And I wasn't really upset that I didn't make it. I was upset with myself because I couldn't do it. I couldn't shoot. Well, I could shoot, but my other skills, dribbling skills, going to my left, and all the other stuff was not good enough, and I was short. So I'm only like 5'5", 5'6" at the most. I'm on good days, right? But everyone was still taller than me. I'm a bunch. I I'm around a bunch of Dutch kids, so of course I'm gonna be the shortest kid on the team. But I tell you this, folks, if my middle school coach let me make that team, and knowing that I did not know how to, that I was not a good shooter, not a good passer, not a good, I just wasn't good enough. I think that would have made me feel even worse because the following year, there was no cutoff at all. And part of the reason was because I was the kid that was cut, and I was the kid that was teary-eyed because I did not make the team. And I felt bad. I felt bad for that team. I felt bad for that middle school team because our middle school team was pretty good. And if they didn't put me on the team, they would have been a lot better. And there were other kids on that team that didn't try out the year before that made the team because we didn't have any cuts. But they weren't as good as I was. So that made the team even worse. Even worse. So, and I knew going into high school that I was not going to make the basketball team. And I knew that the other kids that from other schools, middle schools that we combined together were better than me. And I really wanted people to understand, like, for Bronny, if you're out there listening to this, or Lebron James, or anyone out there that's disabled, if you're out there and you're trying your butt off, and you take a spot of someone else's spot because the coach feels sorry for you, you should almost feel ashamed of yourself. Because if you didn't earn that spot, if you did not shoot the ball well enough, if you didn't hit the ball enough times during batting practice, if you didn't skate fast enough on the ice playing hockey, if you didn't hit the ball on the green at a consistent pace, golfing within a par, birdie, or bogey spectrum, you should be really ashamed of yourself for taking that spot. And a lot of people would tell you, a lot of people that would listen to this are going to say to me, are going to say to you and me, like, you should be ashamed of yourself, Andre, or Crazy Crockett. You should be ashamed of yourself. Why would you tell another person with a disability that they should make the team? Well, let's be real, folks. Let's be real. If I could shoot, and I was a great dribbler with my right hand, and I could dribble to my left-hand side, and I was making 85, 95% of my shots from 5 to 12 feet, which is really high. I mean, 50% within 5 to 10 feet of the basket, 48, 50% is pretty good. 85% is way good. So if I was shooting the ball within 5 feet to 10 feet, 42, 44%, or even 48, I could see that. If I was shooting mid-range between 12 and 15 feet, and it was between 33 to 40%, that'd be good too, okay? But if I'm shooting from 5 to 10 feet and only hitting 20% of the shots, and if I'm only shooting if I'm shooting between 12 and 15 footers, only 28%, and then let's say my three-pointers are maybe higher, let's say it's maybe 35%, but my basketball skills are not good enough to break free from a double team, uh, any type of way to get to the basket, then yes, I should not make the team. And I don't think that people should feel bad for people who are who are not good at at sports or music or any other thing like that. I mean, there's reasons why we have first place, second place, and third place. There's reasons why we have champions and not second up winners. There's a reason why we don't have that. So in some ways, I was happy that my father told me, like, hey man, I hope you try and make the team. If you don't make it, you know, he saw me with a crushed look on my face. But I was mature about it by the time and I tell you this, that was one of the first times in my life that I was too mature for my own britches. When I mean too mature, I should have been more mad and angry, and I should have tried even harder or practiced more and more, or, you know, something. I should have put more energy in it and maybe not try to make a basketball team, but try to do a different sport, or even became an announcer or something in that field of sports. But I mean, a lot of my maturity became what it is because of understanding that I was a failure of the things that I love, music, sports. It made me grow up a lot faster than anyone else. And I don't know if that's a great thing or a bad thing, because in the long run, it made me a bitter, kind of angry, kind of mad kind of guy. In the short run, it made me kind of cool, mellow, very nice, very passive aggressive, not good that in that way. It put me in my place in a way that it didn't challenge me to go after the girl that I really liked. It challenged me to make sure that I didn't get in other people's places, right? Right? I mean, and that's kind of what happened. Not making the basketball team, and then understanding and not trying harder or better, or trying to find another avenue of something that I enjoy to do, made me more of a worse person. Because I became bitter, even at work. And I know I'm going away from sports right now, but even at work, folks, I hate working with people who are smarter than me that act stupid. I can't stand it. I can't stand how I'm working with people who are twice as my youth or my age, who are younger than me, and they're not really good at their job. And I really should not be working with people in that age group, because I should be working with people my age group, and I should be their supervisors or their managers. But instead, it's the other way around, that they're telling me to do something and they don't know what they're doing. So this is something that most of you people out there who don't understand what it means to be disabled, or don't have kids who are disabled, or you might have kids and you don't know what to do, because your kid can be smart. And I hope he is. I hope all your kids who are disabled are very intelligent, very outgoing, able to understand anything that would challenge their cognitive thinking, their knowledge. And I really do. I hope you have kids who, if they're disabled, I hope that they're good at something. Because life is very long and the journey is very short. Life can be tough. And I don't know how I got into this little rant about basketball and LeBron. I mean, basically, I got into it because Bronny James. But I really do think that people like Bronny James, you got to feel bad for the kid because he doesn't know, he doesn't understand that he's kind of a jackass by accident. And it's because his dad made him out to be the jackass. His dad let the system work for Bronny even though he didn't earn it. He didn't earn it. He did not earn that spot on the Lakers team. All the players who are playing behind him, coming off the bench, or not even playing, or who are still on the bench on that team, are laughing at Bronny. He's a joke. He's an absolute joke. And people should feel bad for Bronny because that will be a mental that's just a mental meltdown for that kid someday. When his dad's not around no more and no one's talking about LeBron James no more, no one cares about LeBron James, and there's Bronny by himself. And he'll be by himself. And when I mean by himself, I mean like business-wise. Because someday LeBron James will die. And when Bronny's like 45, 50 years old, and he doesn't care about his dad's business, I don't know what he's going to do. I really don't. And Bronny is a good example of the Gen Zs and millennials and all these kids today who are between the ages of 25 and younger. They all get rewarded for something that they didn't earn. They all got trophies for things that they just participated in. They got a trophy for participating in a sport. Think about that. I didn't get a trophy for playing Little League Baseball and my team sucked. And I really do feel bad. I do. I swear. I want people to understand, like, I remember this kid in Little League Baseball. And he was on our team. And this kid, I think his name is Ben. And Ben was pretty good. Ben was like an Italian, a Latino kid that could hit. He could hit the ball anywhere he wanted to. He was a good infielder. He was a good outfielder. I don't remember him pitching a lot, but he was a good athlete. And then he was on my team. And I remember my parents trying to make him become my friend because they wanted me to have a friend. But I felt bad for that kid because I couldn't do anything he could do. So he was hanging out with me because his parents made him hang out with me. Okay? He was riding a bicycle, a BMX bike. He was jumping, doing all this stuff. I could hardly ride a bike. I was scared to fall. A lot of times when you're disabled, you're scared because if you break your right hand, if I broke my right hand, I don't have a left hand to do things. So if I was 12 or 14 or 17 or 16 years old and I broke my right hand, I would have to have someone wipe my butt. I'm serious. I am so serious about this. And I wasn't really thinking about talking about LeBron James and Bronny James, but I really want people to understand that Bronny James is kind of a big problem in our society. There are other kids like him who are able bodies, who are able to do other things in life, They can practice, not just practice, but go to work, get a job, have a career, and then move up. I'm serious. I'm truly serious. But he doesn't have another career because he's being pampered. American 20-year-olds and teenagers are being pampered. And it's not a good thing. I mean, for the government, I mean, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you probably would say that the government wants to make men weak so they can have more control over the people. Because less men who are willing to fight for their country is a lot easier for the country or the government to control. So if you create a lot of men who are alpha males, personalities, or men who will take charge, or men who will fight for their freedom, men that will fight for their income, men will fight for their property, men that will fight for their girlfriends and wives and their kids, are much more of a threat to the government than the guy who sits around the house, watches sports too much, plays video games too much, goes on the OnlyFans page, tells people that he's lonely, and then goes on porn sites. Those are the guys that the government would rather have in our society than men who are do-it-yourself guy. But that's what our country, this is what our world has created. We've created men like Bronny to be pampered. And it's not really, I mean, it's not a good thing. And I want people with kids with disabilities, just be honest with your kid. Tommy, I love you. You can try for the basketball team, but if you don't make it, don't cry. And if you want to try again next year, you're going to have to practice more. But, I mean, I feel like Bronny will someday be somewhat like me. Resentful, angry, doesn't have a real career. There'll be something that he'll be missing. You know, I'm hoping that he's got a college degree or something, or a trade or something that he's really good at. Because there are a lot of Gen Zs that I see that don't have real jobs. Look, I want to show you. Well, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go on to TikTok, and there's a guy that I need to look up. And oops, let me see here. No, I don't want that. Well, his name is Baxter. I'm sorry, Baxtate. B-A-X-A-T-E. So this guy is a Gen Z, and he's 24 years old. He's got some engineering degree. He did his internship for a couple businesses. Now he works for a business that he used to be the intern for. And he makes $150,000 a year. But some people think that he's from a wealthy white family privilege. But let's get it straight. What this guy did, he's only 24 years old, is that he did his diligence. He went to school. He paid attention to the teachers from high school into college to master's, and he's probably got a doctorate, or he's working on his doctorate, or he's working on his master's, I think. And he makes a lot of good points. He makes, like, the Gen Z's era is bullshit. There are businesses out there who are firing Gen Z's all the time. And it's because they don't know how to do their job. and they think that the job will come to them, and they think that they can take vacations and not do the work and not do the diligence and not earn their keep. That's something that you have to understand. My generation, my father's generation, my grandfather's generation, you had to earn your keep. You had to earn what you wanted. When you wanted a house, you have to work for the house. If you wanted a second house, you have to work twice as hard or being smart with money or finances or something to invest into a second property. Okay, that's my grandfather. Okay, that's what my grandfather did. You know what my father did? He became a teacher because he didn't want to become a business guy. And then my generation, after my dad died, was selling the cottage because no one wants to put into it. I can't do it because I only make so much money because I'm running around pushing carts and helping patients. But I don't make enough money for that. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you should have gone to school. Look, folks, at the time when I was in school, my learning, the way I learned, the way I didn't understand how to learn, caught up with me real quick. And I know a lot of people out there that are going to say that's just an excuse. But even this guy Baxtate, Baxate, he knows what stupid is and what stupid is not. He understands that some people don't have really high cognitive knowledge or understanding of something instantly. You should. Most people should have a cognitive thought or test score between 85 and 90, or between 85 and 110. That's average. Mine's below average, between 80 and a little lower than that. But I got street smarts, I guess. I guess I got some good witty thing with it, right? But the Bronny's generation, you guys are missing out. I mean, I'm telling you, you guys are missing out because even though you're not going to be great athletes or great rock stars or whatever, you're beating yourself up by not trying to do anything or not earning your keep, not failing. You're not failing because you're not trying. You don't try. You guys just sit around and just like, well, my dad will give me money. No, they won't. I have a friend of mine. I got two guys. Well, I got one guy I know for sure that he thinks his dad should pay him out because he can't find a job that's worth the value of what he wants to live in that lifestyle. Your dad doesn't have to do that. It's your job to get a real job now that I work. I might not be working tomorrow, though, for circumstances it is. But I'm telling you, Bronny is going to resent this. He's going to resent making the NBA because of his father. He just will. And I would resent having a job that I don't deserve to have a job for, or having a career. For example, if I could, I would have joined the military, I would have joined the police force, I would have done something in the government, and I would feel bad if the government just gave me a job because they say, hey, we need a disabled guy, and you're the closest guy that is in the whole damn United States that's willing to work here. But then let's say, mess up with an assignment, and then people get hurt or died. And it's my fault. But the government would never tell me that because they don't want me to feel bad or feel sorry for myself or be reprimanded or be threatened by my own life, by the family of people that may have died in my own hands, or because of my position. I would feel bad. I just would. I just don't know how Bronny feels about making it because of his father. To me, that's an insult, an injury. It just is. I can't express it. I mean, that's not really man of you. That's not. I mean, you're basically, you know what, we call guys like that bitches back in the day. If your dad had to do everything for you or your mom had to do everything for you, we call you a bitch. We really did. That's just the way we said it. And we made fun of you, but I mean, it wasn't really nice to make fun of someone for that. But when if you're the guy that gets handed out by your parents, and your parents help you out, you're not really cool, dude. You're just not. So, I'm so sorry, by the way, I just went kind of in this direction. But I had to say something about Bronny. I didn't realize how much I had to say about Bronny making an NBA and not earning his keep. You did not earn your keep, Bronny. And I feel bad for you. So, peace, love, and I'm out of here. I hope you guys enjoy it. Come back. Tell me what you think. Peace.